Okay, hello everyone. My name is Sonny Tai. I am the CEO of Actuate, and I'm joined here by Blake Ballard, who is Director of Operations, or can I call you that?
Yes.
Okay. Glen who is the President of Global Monitoring Solutions, and today just really wanted to have a frank conversation with Glen and Blake to better understand how GMS started, to better understand how GMS became such an influential player in the industry in such a short time. We got started in 2012. And also, we've been working together for quite some time now in terms of incorporating analytics into GMS. So we also love to kind of talk to the audience about how analytics has transformed your company and maybe how analytics in the future can potentially transform the industry. So my first question, I think this may be a question for you, Glen, is how did you get into central station operations? What sparked your interest to help build GMS into the company it is today?
Well, I guess more or less it started at, we were, the existing central station that we were using it wasn't quite, it didn't have that, we weren't comfortable, that comfy feeling that you get, when you partner with someone, and we just weren't receiving the level of service that we expected. So we decided to venture out, open up our own central station, and then we started seeing that there was a niche for bringing on dealers for doing wholesale monitoring. And I guess what kind of more or less sets us apart and what has brought us up, to where we are now is we still have the understanding of from the dealer's point of view of the level of service that they expect to receive from a central station, and we deliver it. We don't treat them as they're just another company out there. We treat them as our own, basically.
So you mentioned when we had a conversation earlier that GMS was started in 2012. So it's almost like you guys are, and we're a tech startup, but you guys are growing like a tech startup in a way. What do you think has set GMS apart in terms of being able to grow so fast in a short order of time?
I think our passion for this, not only the passion for this, but our staff, like Blake, he has a passion for this as well, and our dispatchers, and our dealers see that, and the service that they receive, it's word of mouth, and we're just, as long as we continue down that path, I think we're going to continue down this growth.
So I was just thinking the other day that GMS stands for Global Monitoring Solutions, and it sounds like you guys have pretty huge ambitions for where you want to take this company and where you want it to grow. Where do you see yourselves 5 to 10 years? Do you see yourselves expanding beyond the continental United States?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'd love to see that in 5 years. I'd love to see us outside of the U.S. And now that you asked that question, I think it's possible. I think we can, venture out maybe into Canada or et cetera. But in 5 years, I think that would be a good goal for us.
Why do you feel like your customers, why do they stick with GMS usually? And
the level of service. I mean, they have our personal information, our personal contact information. If they're not receiving what the answers that they're looking for right then and there, they know that they can reach out to us, and it's not a problem. It's not a problem whatsoever. They get that personal level of service, not it's the weekend, leave me alone, it's after hours, leave me alone, I'll deal with you the next business day. This is our life, this is what we breathe every day. So it's our level of service, I do believe.
There's something different about being monitored and calling into a central station and calling into the company that you have a contract with. And to our customers, that's what we do for our dealers. It's that personalization of, we're going to represent everything that you stand for, everything that you believe in. That's what we want to be for you as you. we're not going to answer as Central Station. We're going to answer as your security company.
Wow.
So that your customers have a next level experience, more comfort. They don't feel like they're being outsourced to another company. So I think that helps us big time.
It's branding. We're branding the
So you do custom branding for all our dealers. So for example, if I'm an Acme dealer and I have a contract with you guys, and one of my customers, let's say it's a school, they're expecting to call Acme dealer or Acme security, but you guys are answering their phone and say, "Good morning, this is Acme security."
That's
Yes.
correct.
They have their own personalized toll-free number. It's how we dial out. So they have a specific number for that dealer. Branding is, I think it's the most beautiful thing about GMS.
What about training? Because I just imagine that even for something really small like this, where every one of your central station operators, they have to know that out of the dozens or hundreds of dealers that you work with, they have to say the correct name of the dealer when they pick up the phone. I imagine that takes quite a bit of training. Do you feel like training is a pretty good differentiator for you guys compared to other players in the space?
Absolutely, because I feel like we get personal with training. It's not a specific. I mean, it might be Glenn one week in there that's introducing someone to the company, and he's starting the process and teaching them, or it might be myself or our training manager. And the way that we begin is it's a history thing, where we came from, where we're at right now in the short amount of time, and this is what we mean, and then we slowly break down every aspect of everything that we do.
And in the first 30 days of training, it's very unique. There's certain parameters that they have to follow, and there's certain things, quizzes and et cetera that they have to endure. So the process of training is close to 90 days is how long we take to train someone.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty intense program. I mean, Marine Corps boot camp is 90 days, right?
But yeah, I mean, we go through, that training, for the 90 days, just we make sure it's intense, just because the situation that you're going to have in the central station, we need to make sure that they're prepared for it. Because every situation is different, every one of them is unique. And for what we do, it's life safety. So, when you're dealing with life safety, every second counts.
Yeah.
And if you have a dispatcher that's, not sure how to handle something or et cetera, it could cost somebody their life. So we make sure that we run all the scenarios by them. We make sure that we have everything, to the best of our ability that's done correctly, But so when they do hit that floor, they know how to make the right calls.
What do you feel like GMS stands for? What are your core values?
Let's say for sure, next level customer service. That's one of the most important things to us.
That's a really good question. So you still got me. Go ahead.
No, I mean, one of the things when we bring somebody in for training that I always mention to them is every document in this company, when it mentions customer service, there's always a descriptive word in front of it.
Yeah.
It's never just customer service. So the biggest thing to us is providing the best possible experience for the customer, for your customer, whether that's us dealing with a dealer, helping them with things online or solving issues, or the dispatchers handling alarms for their customer. Either way, then we want that to be the best experience possible. And I think that's really what we surround ourselves with.
Absolutely. And I think honestly, we are experiencing some of that already, even though we're a vendor to you guys and not necessarily the customer, but just the way that we've been treated since we've been visiting here, I think it just really speaks for ourselves. It speaks for itself, because if you're treating a vendor this way, because some people, we're just a vendor, we're less important than a customer. So if you treat a vendor this way, then how well would you treat your customers, right? So it must be as good, if not better. So that's something that's really heartwarming in our relationship so far. How do you feel like analytics has transformed GMS's operations so far?
That's a twofold question. I believe it's transformed. We'll go with the flat flashy side first. That is like what we can provide for the customer.
Yeah.
Being able to provide gun detection to somebody who just, their employees got held up at gunpoint recently, that's a big deal. Being able to do people and vehicle detection without all of the mess in between, and we can just identify exactly what we're looking for.
We're a lot more efficient.
But that's the second part, is the efficiency, the amount of manpower that it requires, the downtime with dispatchers, the cutting out of false alarms, the removal of anything that's not necessary is what Actuate has brought to the table. So now we can be more efficient for our customers and provide them a better service, and we can also offer them more than they ever had before.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm going to ask you the next kind of maybe self-serving question, because you guys have, I'm sure you've done a lot of your own due diligence. I think we were speaking for several months before it escalated to you and Glenn to a point where you were willing to do a pilot with us. But in the process of doing that due diligence, I'm sure you looked at other analytics companies and looked at other AI companies that provide a similar service. But what stood out for us to you guys to where you said, okay, this is a company I want to give a shot to, and after you did a pilot, you said, okay, this is a company I actually want to work with in production?
Communication. That was a huge decision for us. I mean, you guys, the communication that you provided was just beyond anyone else. Not only that, but when we did a few test sites with y'all, some of the obstacles that we were having with another software vendor that we were using, it could not correct the issue. You guys jumped all over it and had it resolved in no time. So that was the two major things on my end. Blake, what about you?
No matter what we asked for, no matter how difficult we made it, no matter what we demanded, this is how we do it with such and such, this is how we're going to want to do it with y'all.
Yeah.
We made it happen.
Accommodate.
We have an entire user interface that wasn't there for the customer before because y'all made it happen. I mean, we're just being completely honest, and that makes a difference. Plus, as we started having these conversations weekly, obviously, the ultimate decision is on the boss here, and we had already signed paperwork, we did whatever we had to do, but you said something that stood out to me, and I'm just going to brag on your company for a moment, and that is that you admitted that you are not the technological mastermind, you are not the engineer, but you're smart enough to know that as a leader, you put the right people in place to lead different areas. So if this person's expertise is engineering, that's who's going to run it. If this person's expertise is marketing, that's who's going to run it. And that's a very selfless way to lead, but it's the way that leadership should be done. It's the leadership that I get to sit behind every day. So it really mimicked exactly what I like as far as working in a business setting. So.
Man, Blake, you're gonna make me cry, but no, I think that's something that I just took with me from the Marine Corps. In the Marine Corps, we're taught centralized command, decentralized execution, but I think an emphasis should be on decentralized execution, which means if you're a company commander, you trust your platoon commander to go and execute. Your platoon commander, you trust your squad leaders to go and execute. And if you're doing training the right way, and especially at a unit where you have people with different types of expertise that you don't necessarily have, as long as they're communicating well with you and providing you with the information to be able to make good decisions, then you should be kind of hands off and let them do their thing. And for me, I feel like sometimes I'm just very honest with myself, and there's so many things that I don't know. There's so many things that everyone on a team is a lot better than me at in certain aspects. So why would I try to force my own non-core competencies when somebody else has their core competencies and can do it twice as well or 10 times better than I can? And I think that that's a way for an organization to grow.